All right, for segment 2 today, Heathen Dog's got 3 little sections that he wants to regale us about. It is like an entire free league day today. I don't know how that happened, but we're all free leaguing it today. And I asked him if he wanted to take a look at Vaesen at some point because I was like, you like Call of Cthulhu, you like those type of games, and more so than me. I'm just not as into anything. I don't know. Maybe I've been burned too many times with investigative type games that go too deeply into it. Also, well, this one is not. I'm not into more modern type games as well. But Basin definitely has a following. It has an interesting art style. I'm also going to show off a web page here real quickly once Heathen Dog, dives into his stuff. But instead of me going over this more, I'll let him give you his 30-second elevator pitch about what this is going to cover. But ultimately, it's just one of those things where it's like I wasn't going to cover it this year for the rest of our free league, and I'm glad that he's taking a look at this. So give us your 30-second elevator pitch about what this is going to be before I hit the proclivities.
All right. Unlike the other free league games that we're doing this year, Vaesen is very much based on investigation and horror. Now, unlike Call of Cthulhu, it's flipped. Call of Cthulhu is horror causes investigation. Here, investigation is the cure for the horror that you have. And the horror here is relative to your group. You can have it jump, up to 10 like Cthulhu, or you can keep it at a 2 or a 3. It's fine. It's up to you. You have the ability to dial it up, dial it down, however you want. But the investigation here is key. And we're going to get into that in just a sec.
Cool. The core values of hashtag RPGate and any good tabletop group are escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, and natural, organic inclusion, not forced diversity. Please follow that QR code or refer to the description below for the link to the charity we support, which is the Wounded Warrior Project. Thursdays and Saturdays, you can watch the Dirty Casuals on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth. Fridays and Sundays, you can watch the Friday Night Chill Stream and RPG Digest on our YouTube and Rumble channels. Please leave us a comment with your thoughts and experiences, and if you like our gaming content, please be sure to subscribe to Legion of Myth. All right.
Okay. So first, let's bring this up. Boom. Vaesen. All right. The whole deal, this is 19th century Scandinavia. All right. Netherlands. I'm a dirty Dutchman, whatever, it's that area. And it's all of the Vaesen, the supernatural, quote unquote, supernatural creatures are based in Scandinavian lore. So last night, Fulton actually screwed it all up, gave it away. But this game is a lot like the TV show Grimm, Grimm. That one's based mostly on Germanic type stuff, but this one is Scandinavian type mythology and lore. And all of these supernatural creatures are hidden from everyone except for people with the sight, or Thursday's children in myth is what they're called. You can actually see these things even when they're trying to hide. Normal people, 99.99 ad infinitum people, can't see them at all unless they want to be seen. And the reason it's built into the 1800s is because that's when the world in Scandinavia started changing. The slow but inevitable and increasing in speed throughout the entire century toward industrialization changed the way humans and Vaesen interact. And we're going to get into that.
Would you say this has a beyond the supernatural feel?
No.
Okay.
No. It is a lot tamer than Beyond the Supernatural, because all of these Vaesen aren't technically evil. They're not out to kill you, your mom, and your sister, and pick their teeth with your bones. They're not doing that. A lot of times they're not just misunderstood, they're actually scorned by accident. And again, we're gonna get into that right now. We're gonna go to the introduction. That one. And why is it 2? I don't know. Okay. Throughout history, supernatural Vaesen have lived side by side with the people of Scandinavia, but these creatures are not perceptible to human senses, unless they choose to be. Invisible, they have helped out farms, assisted in calving, making sure that, or calving, whatever you want, make sure that stray ewes find their way home and kept people safe during harsh winters or wildfires in exchange for some of the farmers' milk or grain. Vaesen have filled the fields with flowers, shown the way to ponds where people can see their future reflected on the surface, and whispered dreams into the ears of the sleeping. Now, these Vaesen are fairies, they're trolls, they're mythical figures that aren't inherently evil, maybe inherently mischievous, but not inherently evil, and they live by rules. They will help you or they won't hurt you if you give them something, some kind of offering or tribute or respect or honor, something like that. But in the march toward industrialization, people are forgetting the old ways to embrace the new. So a lot of these Vaesen feel abandoned, neglected, or mistreated. That's where the problem comes in. That's the rub.
They want to be
How,
remembered, man.
go ahead.
They just want to be remembered.
Or want to be honored because of all the things I've done for your family or your village or your town for generations. And now this is how you do me. You do me dirty like this? I'm pissed off now. And problems start. That's also where the investigation portion of the game starts. The Vaesen causing problems. No one can see it. Just the effects. You as a player character, you have the sight. All player characters have the sight. You have the sight. You can see them. That means you can investigate. Now, how do you do that? This is where it's 75% Grim and 25% Call of Cthulhu.
Okay.
Investigation is important. Any game whose modules almost always have handouts, investigation is key. And guess what? This game has handouts. Oh, yes. Clues that you collect to get the whole picture, because the only way to defeat Vaesen, for the most part, is not brute force. You almost can't kill them. But there are ways, the old ways, the lore ways, to drive them off, put them to sleep, or exile them to another dimension. You can do that, but you have to learn how. You have to learn what this particular Vaesen is. And then how do I get rid of it? Or what does it want? Can I just give it what it wants and it goes away? Sometimes, yeah. Once a year, put a dead calf in this spot in the forest and you'll be fine. Maybe that's the answer. You don't got to kill it. You just got to give it an offering once a year. Okay. Well, it only wants human sacrifice. Well, then it's got to go. Sorry. We got to figure out a way to kill it or drive it off permanently. But that is the story of Vaesen. That is the world you are introduced to, you are thrust into. You are a paranormal fix-it man. You can see the invisible threads that tie the supernatural creatures to the events that have been brought to your attention. Now, how do they bring this to your attention? Well, that's the society. You are either a part of or loosely affiliated with something called the society. History of the society. Linnea Elf. This is all Scandinavian stuff. Just can tell you a lot about founding a society and what happens afterwards. Once the game begins, it's up to the game master and the players to fill in the details where needed. Perhaps the Vaesen from an organization's past comes back to take revenge, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's the deal. It's very much, if you want to go beyond the supernatural, it's very much like the Laszlo Society.
I was going to say it, but I decided not to.
I figured you would. This is a group of people who know the score, and they take records, they take notes, they have lore. Maybe not all the lore you need, but enough to give you a direction to go. And you are part of this society because they gather people who have the sight. And how do they find them? I don't know. I mean, it's up to the game master to decide how the society finds people with sight. I mean, I don't know what the 1800s equivalent of, the tabloid rags are, but you would look at the tabloid rags for unexplainable things and someone at the center of it, and you go check out that guy or girl at the center of it and see if they have the sight, and then fold them into society. Because if without the society, without people with the sight, without this investigation, without the Grims, basically, this situation is going to quickly get out of control, because Vaesen, who are not appeased, who are not properly given respect, they get angry and they could go insane and just start killing folk left and right, and no one can see them, no one can stop them. And at that point, it's gotten really bad, and the people who do have the sight basically have the only recourse is to kill it or try to. We don't want to get that far. We want to get to the point where you live here, I live here. This is the changing of the world now. And now we can all move calmly into the new century, into the new age of man, without the Vaesen being completely left behind. That could be the idea of your campaign. Or maybe the idea of your campaign is to eliminate all Vaesen. It's up to the game master to set the initial tone. But you as players can move the needle during gameplay, one way or the other.
What meets the spirit or the intent, the perceived spirit or intent of the game better? Is it more the discovery side of it?
It's again, it's up to the game master. It can be 75% investigation, 25% implementation, or the complete other way around.
Okay.
Maybe the society's job, as according to the game master in this world, is to eliminate the Vaesen completely because we no longer require them. They're no longer needed. We have steam engines. We have Gatling guns. We have all this stuff. We don't need Vaesen now. We have medicine that actually works instead of like chew some tree bark and cross your fingers type thing. Now you have, actual medicine that works. We don't need Vaesen anymore. So your job is to get rid of them. Or if your society is different, according to the game master, maybe your job is to integrate the Vaesen into the new way of doing things, so they don't go all weird and start killing folk, or destroying whole crops or whole herds because they're angry, because the world changed and no one told them. Well, now it's your job to tell them. Maybe that's it. Now, if you want to go all X-Files, where all of the Vaesen are alien-esque and really can't be understood and just have to be survived, fine. Or if you want to go the more grim route, where no, they are also thinking creatures, can be reasoned with, and can move forward with progress, so they don't have to be left behind. This is all up to the game master to set up, and then you as a player to walk through. And like I said, maybe move the needle one way or the other. If the game master sets up of eliminate all Vaesen, they're all supernatural evil, and everything not human is evil, kill it, kill it, kill it with fire. You as a character can move the needle in the other direction by acting more, appeasing the Vaesen, getting it calmed down, talking to it, and then finding an alternative going forward where the Vaesen is vilified and doesn't have to start kidnapping children anymore because it feels neglected. Bring them into this century and to the next.
So he's pouting in the corner. I don't get to steal kids anymore.
Well, hopefully he feels good about not stealing kids, because now he's getting his due. I mean, a lot of these Vaesen, when you investigate, you find out their background, you do the investigation lore thing, you find out all they want is once a year, they want a new hat. Seriously. One of them is like, I want a new hat once a year. That is their appeasement. And if you do that, then they're going to make your crops grow, or all of your herd will have a fertile year. That if that's all it takes, why not use them, right? Sounds good. But some of them, they want human sacrifice. Those guys, well, they either got to change their ways or they got to go. Because we're not doing that anymore. We're moving into the future. We're moving to the new age. Either get in line or you get left behind. So that's the basis of this role-playing game. The times are a-changing. There's a beat of a new drummer. The Vaesen are stuck in the old ways. Do you get rid of them, or do you bring them with you into the new era of enlightenment, into industrialization, have them fit into the new world, or drive them out? hey, if you're a square peg, this is now a round hole. If you can't adapt, you got to go.
Without getting too deep into the system mechanics and so forth, because I know that's not the intent, can you tell me, based on the roles or classes, whatever they're called in this game, like what is it an average character will do during a session? Just in a very vague, generalized sense. Because
Average character
again,
will do in what instance?
when playing the game, like the investigative side of this, like what is the player character's role in
Okay,
this?
the player character. Now you have to build your character as an investigator. Whether it's only 25% focused on the campaign is 25% focused on investigation or 75. Without a good investigatory ability, you're lost. You're done. You're never going to win because you're never going to know the strengths and weaknesses of your enemy. You have to be able to dig through the lore. So these skills and talents that are investigatory in nature in the first half of any adventure is going to be key, is going to be paramount. And then the implementation of this solution that you found through investigation, now the other classes, the to talk about Mutant Year Zero, the enforcer classes, the gearhead classes, these are the people who are now tasked with implementing the solution you found. And either that's going to be brute force, or it's going to be guile, or it's going to be building an apparatus to perform this function. Whatever it is, that's where your skills and talents are going to be necessary. Investigation, execution. Now, each class has a different way of doing these things, but each class in this game has the ability, the at least basic ability to investigate. That's important because that's linchpin to this entire game. Research.
Okay. I want to show I'm gonna take over your screen for just a second here, or not your screen. You're ready for your second part, right?
Almost, yeah. I'm just going to get into the whole
Okay.
area.
Oh, well, then because I wanted to show what Free League's got available right now, but I'll wait till you're done.
Okay, yeah. The whole map here, it gives you a map of the Scandinavian area, the big general area. Now there are some cities, some bigger cities that the game wants you to start in, which is fine. You don't have to. It's up to the game master, but I would take these tools if I were you, because the starting cities are actually strategically placed near several different biomes. So the amount of Vaesen that you can have in this small area is greater. So, greater range of gameplay. Now, it gives an overview of 1800 Scandinavia. It's very important to understand that many events happened between 1800 and 1899. Many technological advances, wars,
1848, man, Europe changed.
conflict. The game specifically states you can put these things in any order. It doesn't matter. If it happened in the 1800s, it could happen in 1820, or it can happen in 1870, or it could happen in 1848. You don't have to stick strictly to the real world timeline because that's very restrictive.
Alternate Earth. It's
Exactly.
alternate Earth.
It's very restrictive for the game master because now you must do things in order. It has to go here, 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 because that's how it really happened. You can let that go. Let it go. These are all the things that happened in the 1800s, and that's exactly what the Mythic Nork thing is telling you. All of these things happened during the 1800s. That means they can happen during your game in whatever order or whatever combination the game master feels is appropriate for the game. Do it that way. And it gives a history, a brief history, big 1,000-foot view history of the Scandinavian area between 1800 and 1899. This is important for the game master to know. I think it's important for the player to know as well, because it gives you a taste of the history and lore and what you're dealing with as a player character. So you can play your character a little more era appropriately. That's great. But it's imperative the game master know, because you're the one setting the scene. You're the one making these events happen. So there it is. Okay, now what do you got?
That one. So right now, Vaesen is still being supported. So for people like, oh, Free League doesn't support its games, there you go. You can pre-order right now the Lost Mountain Saga, which is something that's going on at the north of the map that Heathen Dog just showed you. I don't know much about it. I don't follow. Vaesen is not my type of game. I do like Year Zero Engine. I do have Vaesen. I back, was it Kickstarter or whatever it was when it first came out, but it's not my type of game. So I'm not going to continue. I just did that to back, Free League because I like Free League. But you like things like Vaesen, Foundry, Vaesen Print, Vaesen Bundle, Vaesen Dice. I do have some of these dice. Yes, there are specialty dice involved in the game, but you don't have to have them. Same as Mutant Year Zero. Screen, custom card deck. I do have that. Here we go. One of the big sellers is Mythic Britain, Ireland, which expands your map from just being Scandinavia.
Mm-hmm. Because Ireland and Great Britain in general has a rich mythic history in the, in the 16, 17, 1800s. So it has its own stories to be told in this vein. So I get it.
Seasons of Mystery. This isn't the PDF that I've got, I don't think. It might be, I can't remember, but it's an adventure pack. Let me make sure. That might be it. Oh no, I have this one. I have A Wicked Secret and Other Mysteries. Tell by the cover.
Yep.
So, and you'll be talking about that more in your third.
Well, I'm not going to get into that in particular. I only read it to get
the idea of how the adventures
an idea of how they do their modules. Yeah.
Nope. That's what I figured. We don't want to spoil adventures for them, but check
well,
that out.
I am going to spoil something.
No.
I have to
be spoiling it now or in the next.
In the next one, I'm going to spoil it. In the next video, I'm going to spoil what the Vaesen really are, because just like Max said earlier, if you have player knowledge and game master knowledge in the same book, you're just setting up for players to know it all anyway. So shut up.
All right, I only have a couple starred comments here. Oh, that can go away. Thanks again, Patriotic Assault, for your $10 donation. Mr. Max Boyvon says, can we stop the industrialization? Well, guess what? He just gave you the answer. Yes, you can.
You can stop it. Align yourself with the Vaesen. Shun the society. Align yourself with the Vaesen, and tell all the Vaesen you meet that their woes are because of the steam engine. All of their woes are because of advancing medicine. All of their woes are because of growing cities, and tell them to take care of it. And they will.
I only starred one other one, which is this one. It is grim. That was a good show.
A good show. Yeah, it was. It wasn't my favorite show, but it had a good premise. I liked it. So, and that's what reminded me of this game.
I didn't watch it again. That just type of Aesop's Fables, Grimm, so it's just not my thing. But when he said that last night, and somebody even guessed it on the live stream, the video game live stream. I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. That actually makes a lot more sense, even to somebody who hasn't read the show and isn't really into Vaesen itself. It's like, oh, okay. And in a way, I like that better than the Call of Cthulhu stuff. At least theoretically. I'm not saying it's a better game. I'm just saying because you can do more with it. You can be more, how you want to say it, fanciful with it, so to speak.
Yes.
So.
Because unlike in Call of Cthulhu, in Vaesen, there are fairies, and they're not intrinsically evil or want to eat your eyeballs like everything in Cthulhu wants to kill you or eat your eyeballs, it seems.
You're not allowed to say this without also saying hashtag Comicsgate.